We are live. Welcome, everybody, to Remote Leadership Unleashed. We're here today with Kim Coleman, who is co-founder of Paid Memberships Pro. So welcome, Kim. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. This is a good topic. I love talking about remote work. I don't realize how much I've pieced together in the last kind of 15 years running a remote team.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig into the questions with you and learn from you, because I know just conversations we've had in the past at events where we've seen each other, you know what you're doing, and I'm really excited to hear your tips. And you have a great team. I've met some of them.
Yes,
They're happy. So
they are.
it's pretty awesome. First, I'll get started with an intro. If you're watching this live stream, we are live on YouTube. We are live on LinkedIn and Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we have more of these coming already scheduled, so you don't want to miss them. So hit subscribe on YouTube. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, just make sure to follow the Quickly Hire page, and that way you'll be notified when we have more fun events coming up and live streams and all sorts of things. So again, this is Remote Leadership Unleashed, where we explore expert perspectives on hiring, managing, and scaling distributed teams. So I'm really happy to have everyone here who's with us live watching, and we're very fortunate to be here with Kim Coleman today, so thank you. But first, Quickly Hire is the fastest way to add vetted freelancers to your team. At Quickly Hire, we understand the importance of assembling top-tier talent for your business. Whether you need a copywriter, developer, designer, content marketer, virtual assistant, we've recently announced that we have paid ad specialists, social media managers, SEO specialist. If there's technical or creative talent you're looking for, reach out to us and we can help match you with one of the highly vetted freelancers in our network. Our platform connects you with these vetted and assessed freelancers who match your budget and requirements, ensuring you find the perfect fit for your team. So if you have any needs along the remote team members space, reach out to us at Quickly Hire, and we'd love to have that conversation. So today I am thrilled to introduce Kim Coleman, co-founder of Paid Memberships Pro. I first crossed paths with Kim, personally met her a few years back at a conference in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. And right from the start, we were paired together in a lunch group. And I was just struck by her sharp business insights, her incredible ability to pivot from deep discussions about operational challenges and team management pain points to just being fully present and engaging with the stunning surroundings we were in. So it was just lovely. It was lovely to know Kim and meet her. So I'm really excited to have you on this video series with us today. So thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know how to build and grow a distributed team. So let's just dive right in. Unless
Yes.
there's anything I missed in the intro, Kim.
No, that is awesome.
Awesome. All right. So one thing you talk about, Kim, I've talked with you personally about it, and we've discussed it, is the importance of having core values in place in the business. Now, how does that relate to managing a team, and how does it relate specifically to managing, a distributed team and remote team members?
Yeah, I think people overlook this because there's you have people on your team that are the star performer, and then you have people on your team, maybe you're like, I just need them. I need a little more from them. And I was actually on a call with Corey Miller once, and he was saying, describe to me those people that you found to be like your top performer, the people on your team that you just would do anything to keep and retain. And I named a few words, and then he was like, that's what you should be hiring for. So we often look when we're hiring, like, I need X person to do Y task, and it feels inhuman. But the way that remote teams work best is when we are more human, and we try to build in some of those pieces that you get naturally with the rapport in an in-person office space into the virtual workspace. So that kind of planted the seed, that conversation with Corey. And then later we went through a full deeper exercise developing our team's core values. And it really was, it wasn't a challenge, because the story is that they already are present in the way you work and what you like about your remote team as a manager, who you like working with. So the core values exist. You just have to kind of look through and cipher through everything and pull them out. So it was a really great exercise. I can tell you what our core values are, if that's helpful. They're interesting, and they're not really related to specific work or metrics. They're actually more human qualities and describing us and the way that we love to work together.
I love that. How are you able to hire for that? So once you have those kinds of guide rails in place of what your core values are, because sometimes they can be abstract, right? And a
Yes.
little bit more nebulous. So how are you able to extract that during an interview or an application process?
I think that's the challenge, doing it during interviews and application processes. But if you have some kind of trial project that you can work on someone with, we know Automatic does this. We do this at Paid Memberships Pro. That those are the ways that you can really see, do you fit these core values, and have different people working with them during that trial project to say, you know, oh, did you feel like they resonated with that quality? I had to cancel a meeting because my child had an emergency doctor's appointment. How did they handle that? One of our values is humanness. So and it's silly. You would think everyone treats everyone like a human, but actually, we might not always. Humanist presents itself with using emojis in Slack, where conversations can feel very impersonal, or over communicating and saying thank you and being very grateful to people on the team. So it presents itself in remote work, because most of our conversations don't have a human aspect, because they're asynchronous, or they're just comments on a Trello card that can feel very impersonal. So are they communicating with you and using language that's human and friendly and considerate of people? It also presents in remote work, because we all come from different backgrounds. We come from different languages. As our first spoken language in our team is English, that's not everyone's first spoken language. So there's a humanness to giving people grace when they're not accessing the language as easily as they could. So I think that can come out in an interview, certainly. It comes out more through a trial project for sure. You can ask more targeted questions. We have one of them is own your work, or being responsible for your work. And it can come out in an interview where you can say, when was a time that you felt like you just kind of dropped the ball and, were misfocused on what you were doing, and your work wasn't directed well? What would you do differently looking back on that now? You can see it if someone learned from an experience of where they didn't really take ownership of a project that they were leading.
Yeah, I love that. I think a lot of times too, if you have your core values in place and you know what they are, it gives you the power to be able to identify when it's not a good fit, right? Because sometimes, and I'm sure a lot of folks watching and listening have had someone on the team and they don't know why, but it's just not working, right? And you're like, oh, I don't know. We just don't. And a lot of people will just say, oh, culture fit. And that's an easy write-off, and that's kind of a catch-all bucket. But it's so powerful to be able to say what that is, so that you don't make that mistake the next time, right? So that you hire with that insight and knowledge, and say, hey, that person from before was a bad fit because they didn't have ownership of work, or whatever it is, right? And being able to actually identify what it is so powerful and so helpful to learn and grow and do better the next time.
Yes. And it can be seen by your team. I don't know if you have these within Quickly Hire, but sometimes it can look like mission statement empty words that, you stuck on the wall, and they're not reinforced in your processes. They're not reinforced in your day-to-day. We make a strong effort as managers to notice when someone's leveraging a core value and add it to our handbook as an example of the use of that core value. So they're not just words and, these 5 fun words we stuck somewhere so that we could feel good for corporate. Like, they're actually very deeply connected to our day-to-day, and we try to
Yeah.
notice them when we can.
Yeah, I love that. We do that at Quickly Hire, actually. So we have a reward system where we kind of like a kudos, and we can give it
Yes.
to each other and everyone on the team. And you have to attach a core value to it. So we have, I believe there are 5 core values. And when we give a kudos, we have to link it to one of those core values. So it's all constant reinforcement. And you do see sometimes we're always linking the same core value. And then it causes people to go look for examples of the other core values.
There are some that stand out, I think, that are more strong and more necessary, certainly, but they're all equally valuable at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think that's super smart and really, really helpful, just as a foundational aspect of hiring and building a team, distributed or in office, like in office and with you. Um, so let's shift gears a little bit here. So when hiring and when you've identified a new position you need, what is your approach? This is something that comes up often, and especially in the world of contractors. But do you hire for more experienced veterans, someone who can come in, hit the ground running, do everything, and hopefully do it the way that you envisioned it being done? Or do you hire for more junior members that you can bring in, onboard, coach, nurture, and with the idea that they're going to, be there for the long term and grow into that role?
Yeah, there's a saying people have, this, hire someone great and get out of their way. And it has not worked for me. It has not worked necessarily for our team in the past. We found that nurturing someone a little more junior, it fit better because when people are newer to remote work, they might not yet have a feel for all those core values that we talked about, and like, actually, how does this happen? How do I show up? How do I sit in the chair? How do I actually work and engage with my team? And I found that junior people were more flexible to learn our processes and the way that we work as a team, the way we use Slack, the way we use these tools like Trello, and learning it our way. Where I found that more senior people that we've brought in are like shake up kind of people. And at this stage, 15 years in, I don't want shake up people. I want them to come in and use our processes for 3 months, 6 months, and then, of course, introduce ideas, suggest something, but it can't be friction just for the sake of friction. Or I really liked ClickUp, let's switch. Anything like that is just a big red flag. So I've found more success bringing up junior people. It depends if you have the process in place yet. So are you hiring for something that you have zero skills across your whole team for, zero interest in learning that skill, and it's something that can really be built out as an entire wing of your company by a very experienced individual? Um, those kinds of projects I think work great for a very experienced person because it's a niche skill set. There's no necessary like dissent that's going to come from another person in the team that does things one way and another does another way. We've faced friction with developers that are very test driven and they want to have a test written for every function that they write. And at Paid Memberships Pro, we don't do that. We're very we build tests when we know that they'll be useful, but we're not end-to-end tested at Paid Memberships Pro. So those kinds of things create friction when someone more senior is very rigid in how they want to approach development. You mentioned paid ads with Quickly Hire, right? That's an area none of us have experience doing, and it's something we do want to hire out for because it's a contained project. It's obvious when you're interviewing someone to see how they've handled it in the past, see if they've had success working on it in the past, and they can build out that project for us, and we can learn alongside them. So I think that's one that that makes sense because there's no process for it in-house yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense, and that's something we've done also with Quickly Hire. Is we actually brought in one of our SEO specialist freelancers, and we're using them internally for Quickly Hire because I have a elementary understanding of SEO. It's gotten us to where we are. Our content marketing team, same thing. Like we kind of know what we're doing, but we're not doing all the technical audits. We're not doing all of those things. So we bring someone in and say, "Yeah, take it and let's meet, every few days and go over it. But this is your specialty. You guide us, you advise us." And yeah, it's been great. And I think when it's something like that, when it's a new contained project that you're not great at, bring someone great in and get out of their way to a certain extent, but you want to keep control of your brand, and it depends on how public the work is, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I love that approach, and I think it's
Key
interesting to
for
hear that from
yeah,
your.
when you said meet with them, I said that's the key is, if you hire someone very senior and they work in this enclosed space and you're never working with them one-on-one, you have less visibility into how they're doing things. You're not learning as their manager what they're doing. And, months could go by where you didn't check in and you had this expectation of what was being done. And it might not line up when you really check in. So the more frequent meetings, especially when someone's, in uncharted territory as a project, super important. It might feel like annoying to them, like I have to tell you what I'm doing. You're like, just teach me. You can be very human about it. You can say like, I'm new to this, but I really want to learn it because it's pivotal to my business, and I want you to show me how we're doing this, and I want to be involved. And thank you. Use nice words. So it's an opportunity to make sure that even though you don't know how to do the project, that the destination is the right destination that you want as the owner.
Yes, absolutely. That's a common theme in these conversations is, set the goals and let them achieve those goals and attempt to achieve those goals. Because the idea is that you're bringing on team members to take work off your plate, right? And to grow the business, not to create more areas for you to be a bottleneck as the person in charge of the business. So yeah, I love
Yes.
that. And I want to bring up, we have a comment from LinkedIn here from one of those happy team members, Samantha. And she said, she's mentioned that Kim brought me, Samantha says, Kim brought me in about 3 years ago and she's worked her way up to marketing manager. So it just goes to show that the nurturing approach is powerful, especially in a role like marketing. You know, well, I mean, you could say about anything, but truly understanding the brand and getting that knowledge and all of that is so important, I think, in a lot of ways.
Hi, Sam.
Yep. Hi, Sam. All right, let's go into keeping a remote distributed team motivated. It's challenging. I think it's when work's getting done and things are going great, it's easy to just put it on autopilot and forget about things and let people work in their bubbles and in their silos. But then trouble can gurgle up and then you gotta, kind of peel away all the layers that you've let build up over the last months or whatever it is. So how do you maintain motivation, keep people working and productive and efficient and happy? It's so important in a remote setting.
For me as the owner, I listen first to my managers, and when they're giving me feedback that someone on their team is a pain point or they're struggling, they're the people I have to maintain first and foremost, right? Because they're so key and pivotal. They're the managers on our team are who enable me and Jason to do fun projects and have more freedom and work on Lifter LMS and get involved in other things that are adjacent to Paid Memberships Pro. So listening closely to your managers and what's demotivating them, you can resolve that for them as their manager or as the owner. You can give them, try this with this person, or, maybe that's not a right fit. Let me get involved. It's very important to me that I never overstep that. So I think our managers stay motivated to be great managers because I'm not going to their team members and intercepting them. And I'm always going through, I'm saying, hey, could you ask? So, I try my best too. I'm probably not perfect at it. So I think being really closely listening to what your managers are reporting. And then I think also building in fun, however you can build in fun to a remote async team. It doesn't have to all be work and work meetings. People dislike meetings, but we have some that are strictly for fun and strictly for conversation. So those, we have like a fun Friday where we play a game together, an online game. We have a drink thing at the end of the day on Friday. I know drinking culture is not great, but we call it Poor Decisions. It was introduced by a team member that's not with us anymore. But it's a fun a la carte thing to just show up and not talk about work as much as possible. Something I learned from the Lifter LMS team, which can be motivational, is at the start of our all hands meeting, Chris has a wins for the company, for the customer, for us as people, and then also fails. So we're transparent about what we think we're doing great, what we're witnessing the people using our software are excelling at, and then, what as a company, what we think we're doing great. And then on the flip side, show your humanness, talk about what your failures are. We don't want to look like idols that are flawless, even at the owner level. We want to say, I burnt dinner the other night, or, our new puppy had 20 accidents. It's that brings in humanness. It also reminds us, yes, we're all human. We're all dealing with things in our life that aren't ideal at times. So fun meetings in addition to work meetings, moments in meetings that are just for sharing successes. One recent thing, this has just popped in because of Sam, a team member who does our cancellations and failed payments recovery was like, I see a lot of cancellations, but I don't see the paid checkouts. And she was like, would there be a way that we could just show like the activity, the metrics of what's going on? So now we started every week. Sam, who commented, posts a team update, who's off what days, what meetings are happening, and also posts about all the new free members we got that week and all the new the prior week, the paid members we got. So there's some transparency of like success being shared down, and that's motivational. You could do 20 support tickets and you had no idea that was equating to 15 new people that bought Paid Memberships Pro yesterday. Like you don't see it when you're in the weeds. So those are my tips, I think, mostly. Do you have anything that you'd like doing? You have a larger team than us, and among the freelancers, you have kind of varying levels of close team and then this wider area of team.
We do. Yeah. It makes it complicated, right? Because there's the concept of team can change as well, because we have a core team members where we're meeting I'm meeting with most of them daily. And then we have a full team meeting once a week. And then we have our contractors that are part of the Quickly Hire network, that several of them work internally with us on Quickly Hire. We've got several developers, some content folks, VAs working internally, and those are mostly meetings are mostly handled with the managers. So I meet with them, and we have them all in Slack. So, the typical things, like a random channel, like a water cooler kind of space where you can share memes and jokes and talk about your day and your interests and those sorts of things. Having fun calls as well. So we do have a community that we've built for our network of freelancers in Circle, and we do events in there, and had an end of year kind of party there where we had some fun games. So doing things like that, trying to keep people engaged, it's so important, especially for us, because we have this vast network of freelancers, several of whom have engagements with clients, Quickly Hired clients. Some of them are new in the network and we haven't placed them yet, right? And they're doing interviews and that sort of thing. But we want to keep them engaged so that when we reach out and say, hey, we've got an interview for you, an intro call, that they respond and they remember who we are and want to work with us. Yeah, absolutely. So it's important, especially for your working team members, but then also kind of the reserves that we have, and wanting to keep them engaged and excited about who we are and what we're doing. So yeah, it's a challenge, but I think it's a fun challenge if you're able to carve out the time to do it, because that's the other thing. So often you say, oh, fun meetings, like we don't have time for that. Like we got to work, like we got things to do, we got deadlines to meet. But it's so important. And every time we do it, we're always like, oh, we should do more of this. This was fun. Yeah. All right. We're at 20 minutes. I want to wrap things up, but I'd love to hear, and I think this would be a great topic to wrap it up on, your kind of top tip. We have a lot of interviews with business owners, some of whom have never hired remote workers, whether it's internal full-time hires or contractors. So what's a tip that you would give to somebody saying, oh, I'm not sure I can manage somebody remotely? What would you say to that person?
I would say, even if you're a single company of one, make a handbook, write processes, fill the role yourself if you can. I've found that we're more successful when we bring someone on and give them the rubric, give them the steps, and then they innovate, they adjust and change that process over time. But I think it's hard to hire someone and be happy with the outcome unless you've filled that role and written up the process, or really kind of written it up in a way that you're like, this is what success looks like. This is what done looks like. I would say marketing roles in particular, that's very hard for, because the fruits of someone's efforts can take months to show up. But if you haven't done that role yet, you don't really understand how much time is involved, how much creativity, how draining is it? What tools is that person needing? Are they using the right tools? So as much as possible, try the job and write it down. Write down what you did.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great advice. And especially what you said about defining success, because if you don't know what you want that person to achieve, that's hard. That's hard for you to hire for, and it's hard for them to be successful in that position. So yeah, I think that's great advice. Kim, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy. You've got a big team and they're all over the world. So I know you're busy with
I was trying to do the math. I didn't yet. I think our average team member has been with us for 5 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which is pretty long. For this, for a team, we've only had 13 years long. Some of our team members are with us longer than that, 6 years, 9 years. So
that's incredible. Yeah, we're gonna have folks saying, "Hey, are they hiring?" So if sounds like a good place to work. Awesome. Well, Kim, thank you so much. I was so excited that you agreed to come on Remote Leadership Unleashed. I knew you'd have a lot of great advice because I know that you have an incredible team and that they are all distributed. And we should mention, you just got back from I guess, what do you call it? An offsite? I don't know if you call it an offsite for a remote team, but yeah.
This was the second time we've done an all-team retreat, and we were in Cape Town, South Africa. We have a handful of people that live in South Africa. So when we had done this prior, they all came to the United States. So we returned the favor and took that lengthy flight. And we flew in our team from South America, from North America, and other parts of Africa, all to Cape Town for, was it 5 nights, 6 nights? It was frictionless is a word that people kept saying.
That's amazing.
No awkwardness, just everyone who had never met in person, never actually like shook hands or hugged, any of that had met. So it was a beautiful time.
I love that. Testament to a job well done and an amazing founder and manager there. So congratulations, kudos to you, Kim, and thank you for taking the time to join us today and your generosity of knowledge and wisdom. And thanks to everyone who tuned in and watched on LinkedIn. I see a lot of comments, so thank you all for watching. And make sure you subscribe and tune into some future ones. We've got a few already scheduled. So we've got Marcel Pettipas from Parakeeto coming up and some other ones. So make sure to join us for those, and we will see you at the next one. Thank you, Kim. Thank you,
Yes.
everybody.
Thanks.